What's the difference between being socially withdrawn and being an introvert? The difference is being an introvert is a driving factor for social withdrawal. In doctor terms, I would say being an introvert is a differential diagnosis for social withdrawal. So if a patient came to me and their chief complaint is socially withdrawn, then in my mind, I would have a list of possibilities for why they would socially withdraw that I would want to explore and examine to see which one fits best for that particular patient. Now, the second part you're saying, for instance, I stay indoors and I don't have friends and I'm not depressed. Is it okay? I can't say if it's okay because I'd want to understand why you stay indoors and why you don't have friends. I'm a psychiatrist, so I'm trained to examine symptoms and to see what diagnosis they fit. And so for me, the first thing I'd be thinking about is a mental illness. And in this case, I go to my DSM and I look at the closest explanation for why you'd be okay with not having friends. And one of the things that would pop out is cluster A personality disorders, something we call schizoid personality disorder, where a person has no interest at all in having close relationships. They're okay being alone. They like solitary activities. And the only people closest to them are their family, and they're absolutely okay with this. That's what I would be thinking. Other possibilities is, for example, with remote working, now away from mental illness, with remote working, the opportunities that we had that made it easy for us to socially interact or to engage with other people socially have been removed. So for example, if you are going to the office, then on your way back, you might want to stop by a restaurant, you might want to stop by a social place where you would be able to meet with other people and engage. That has been removed. And so many people adapted, perhaps during COVID, to finding ways to be alone, to finding comfort in being alone. And so when COVID ended, they continued in that same trajectory. And so for such people, they might have become accustomed to being alone because they were put in a situation for 2 to 3 years where they had to find ways to be alone, to adapt to be alone. And so that could also be an explanation. So for you, what I would say is it's very important to understand why you stay indoors and why you don't see the need maybe to have friends in your life. Because introverts have friends and they have contexts in which they spend time with their friends and they enjoy the time they spend with their friends, but then they get drained from that interaction or from those interactions and require some alone time to recharge and then go back and have these interactions with their friends. And so for an introvert, you'd find them in the context of having fun with their friends, and you might think maybe they're not introverted. And then you might find them alone where now they're recharging. And so you want to be able to see them in both contexts to understand their personality and these nuances that make them the way they are.